Hi, my name is Paul Turano. I'm coming from Tryst restaurant in Arlington, Massachusetts, and today we're going to make a wild mushroom tart with house-made puff pastry. So I'm going to start here. I have a little sheet of homemade dough layered with butter. You can buy this at the store if you don't want to make it. It's a big process, but we do it here at the restaurant. So I'm going to roll this out nice and thin. And this is a great appetizer. This is also really great starch for a steak or a pork chop or even a chicken. So we're going to roll this out to about a 1/4 inch thick, and then we're going to cut some shapes. You can do rounds, you can do squares, whatever you like. So I'm just going to cut some nice squares. We'll just do 4 of them. Move my little roller here. We'll cut some squares. We're going to dock the dough just so we can aerate it so it puffs up in the middle. And I'm also going to carve a little center out of it just so we can pop it off like a hat when we're done. So just a little mark here, 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 little square. Okay, and then we're going to pop these in a sheet pan, 375 degrees. You don't need to paint any egg on here because the butter will take care of that nice glaze. You get a nice brown sheen from it. So we'll pop these in the oven, 375 for 5 minutes. Then we'll lower the oven to 350 and go for another 15 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to make the filling. This is a leek. Leek is a dirty vegetable. So we like to cut the bottoms off, cut it right above the white part, and then we slice them in half. We cut them across, like so, and we plunge them in ice water. So keep them nice and crunchy and really clean, get all that dirt out. So you have to change the water a few times. And once you do that, we're going to take a piece of butter, a little nugget, in a medium-low heat, and we're going to sweat these leeks until they start to sweat out all their juices, but not brown. So we'll put those in the pan. Turn that heat down just a tad. We're just going to let these go. They're going to go about 15 minutes. Once the leeks sweat out their juices, we're going to pull them aside. We're going to let them cool down while we finish the rest of the filling. Okay, so now we're going to finish our filling. Right in front of me I have some black trumpet mushrooms, some brown beach mushrooms, and some king oyster mushrooms. You can use any kind you want. You could put buttons in there, save yourself a few bucks, or you can get in there and put porcinis in there, which I would really love. But this is a good combination, gives you a little bit of the best of both worlds. So I have a medium heat on this pan. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to swirl that around. And I'm going to let it get somewhat hot, but I don't want to burn the butter, so I'm going to add a little touch of canola oil or olive oil, whatever you like. Then we're going to put in our mushrooms. So I'm going to put in the trumpets, some king oysters, some beach, and we're going to just let those get in here, and we're not going to move them around too much. We're going to season them and just let the juices come out and give a slight sear to the mushroom. So a little salt and pepper on there. So once these sear and cook down for about 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes depending on how much liquid is in the mushroom, we're going to add some garlic and shallots. That way the garlic and shallots don't burn. Okay, so the mushrooms have let out their juices, and I'm going to add just a touch more butter, just a touch. We don't want to get anyone sick or hefty. So just a touch of butter, a little touch of oil just so we don't burn the garlic and shallots. And we're going to add in some shallots, some chopped shallots. We're going to add in a little bit of chopped garlic. And then we're going to stir that around. The reason I put it in at this stage is so that we don't burn it and it doesn't get bitter on us. So we're going to lightly sweat this for, let's call it a minute. Let's assume this has been a good solid minute. Well, we're just about there. You just want to just bring out just soften the shallots a little bit in the garlic. We don't want to brown anything. We want to keep this nice and soft tasting. So to this, I have some sherry. Dry sherry. We'll pop that in. A little bit of heavy cream. Just a little bit, because we already have the butter in there. And then we're going to put our leeks back in. So I'm going to put my leeks back in here. We're going to reduce this all together. I'm going to let this go for about another minute or so. Bring it together, maybe 2 minutes. Make a nice little mushroom ragu, and we're going to finish it with some fresh thyme. So again, I might just hit this with a little touch more salt and pepper. We're going to let this go for about 2 more minutes, and then we're going to add in the fresh thyme, and then we're going to pull this aside and let it rest, cool down. Okay, so our filling has come down. We're just going to finish it off with a touch of fresh thyme. You want to do this at the end so it stays nice and fresh, and it doesn't get bitter on you, like any fresh herb. So then we're just going to stir this around to combine. We're ready to fill our pastry shells. So right here, I've actually cut these, but just so you see how we can finish it, you just put it on a flat surface. It's a little. You can cut these into round shapes, square shapes, whatever you like. Oval. You can get fancy cutters. We just pull these off. So to fill them, just so you don't make a mess of your platter, I just put a little bit of watercress on the bottom with some lemon and olive oil. And I'm going to bring my pot to the pastry shell. And again, you can do this ahead of time. You can have this all cooled and just pop these back in the oven. You could heat them up and put them in hot, whatever you like to do. But this will work really well if you put it in cold, in with the shell, and just bump it in the oven about 15 minutes at 350. That should get you nice and hot again. So we'll just take one. We'll just assemble these in the platter like so. Put your cap back on there. All that hard work, you want to use it. Then these ones have already been shucked like an oyster. And we'll just fill them up nice. And then after, you eat the greens with the leftover mushrooms that fall out. That's the key. So we'll fill this up right here. You could also use this filling for a pasta. If you have any extra, don't waste it. It's delicious. So here we go, a little wild mushroom and leek tart.